Hello, folks. My name is Travis. Welcome on into this edition of Hope on Wheels. In this edition of Hope on Wheels, I'm going to be opening up a little bit more about my life. I have a subscriber that has been requesting a little bit more information about who I am and stuff like that. What my life is like. I'm going to do that a little bit, not a huge amount, because that's not the intention of me, is to bore you with details of my life. But the reason I'm doing this video is because something happened to me last week that made me think about it while I was laying for a little while in bed. It might be good for me to do a video on this. So here we go. This video has to specifically do with power chairs. And I say that because that's all I have. And some people may not realize, because I have all this technology in this house and I can do a whole lot of different things, that the single most important piece of kit or technology that I have, I'm sitting in. If this goes down, I'm stuck, folks. I have no way to do a lot of different stuff. I mean, yes, I can do quite a bit while laying in bed. True, I'm not denying that. However, my my ability to be independent is pretty much shot. I can't do a lot without a lot of support. That being said, here we go. As most of my subscribers probably know by now, for about a year, because of the pandemic, I've been working from home. There are other reasons for that too, but that's not the purpose of this video. I'll get into that maybe at a later video. If you guys want, please let me know. And if you guys want to know other reasons that someone like me might be working from home, I'll gladly go into that. But I'll let you guys tell me whether you want to know those kind of reasons for somebody like myself to work from home or not. But I had my phone sitting on my desk, on this side of my desk. You can't see my arm because it's off camera, but let's say these are the sides of my desk. Just be where my hands are a little bit that you can see. This hand is the side that my phone was on. I had something clear on the other side of my desk. This is my dominant hand. And when I say dominant, both hands I can use, but this one has less mobility options in it. So I realized the item I needed to get to had been set on the other side of my desk. I can't get to that. So I turned my chair on and I moved my chair closer to that side so I could use my more dexterity hand, the hand that has more dexterity in it, to grab the item. Because I knew even if I could get my right hand to extend, I probably wouldn't be able to grab the item that was sitting over there. I get back over to this side where my phone is, my chair beeps. Nothing's wrong. I look down, nothing's wrong with it. About a minute goes by, it beeps again. Well, by the time I looked down, the chair had turned off. It just shut itself off. I didn't touch the button, nada. I go to turn the chair back on because I'm like, why did the chair turn off? It shouldn't have. It doesn't turn back on. It won't do anything. Luckily, this is towards the end of my day, so it wasn't that big a deal at that point. I'd already been working for most of my day, if not all of it, by the time this happened. Actually, it was basically the end of my work day, so it wasn't that big a deal, except for the fact that now I couldn't move. The chair wouldn't turn on, it wouldn't do anything. And my staff had just left to go run some personal errands, probably half an hour to an hour prior to that, maybe more. I don't know, I really wasn't paying attention to when he left. I just knew that he stepped out. And so I called my mechanic, said major problem. They came over, um, but before they got there, they said, based on what you're describing, we need you to get out of your wheelchair, which meant I had to call my staff, get him to come back to the house and get me out of my wheelchair because I couldn't be in it for them to look at it to check and see about repairing it, is what I was told. The mechanic gets here. Meanwhile, I'm literally stuck in bed while he's checking it. And he tells me, after running a lot of tests, that it looks like there's a short in the control module. And he says, then I'm like, well, what do we do? Because without this working, that means the power chair doesn't work, which means I'm literally stuck in bed for weeks. He's like, I know, unfortunately, because that means that we, the whole control module has to be replaced. I can't just replace a part of the control module to get you back up and running. I have to replace the whole thing. And so he says, well, I think we might have one that I might be able to loan you until we can get you a new one. Real long story short, they found one that they didn't have to loan to me, that they could just give me, that's brand new, off a chair that they had just gotten in. They said they could easily order a replacement for the new chair they just got in and just give you a whole new joystick. The purpose of that is I got lucky because they had told me that it's probably going to be about 2 to 3 weeks to get a new joystick in, probably. But they got lucky in the fact that there was already one at the shop. Otherwise, I would have been 2 or 3 weeks not being able to do too much without a lot of help, which would have been an inconvenience for me and for my direct care support professional, because while I'm laying in bed, because it's the only place I can go when I'm out of my chair, because my track system doesn't go into the living room, while I'm in bed, or even if I am in my recliner in the living room, staff are not able to leave because I can't get up or do anything if something happens. I'm stuck, which is honestly the main reason I live in group home services style of living. Is because once I'm out of my chair, I can't get out, period. I'm literally, I won't say an invalid, but kind of close to that idea, you think about it, because I can't do anything. I can roll around on the bed, but sure, I can't get out of the house though. If there's a fire or if something happens, I can't even get up to use the restroom if I'm in bed, so kind of stuck. With the chair, however, I can do all of that as long as I'm in it. But so when that's down, and they told me it could take up to 3 weeks to get me a new control module for my chair, I cringed, because internally I'm going, means I can't work for a couple of weeks, means I can't get up, I'm bedridden, I can't do anything. As far as what I define as anything, there's things I can do in bed, sure, but as far as independence and being able to work or do anything like that, no, wouldn't have happened. So I'm lucky that got fixed. But that led to something else. They looked up my file and they told me I'm eligible to get a new wheelchair. I hit the mark in which Medicaid had said this individual is eligible if he can get a new one. Now, does that mean I have to get a new one? No. Every chair has a 5-year life expectancy. Power chairs at least. Manuals may be more than that. They may have changed that rule for manuals. I don't know. Now, I will never end up with a manual wheelchair for one major reason. I can't use a manual by myself. So therefore, it's been identified that I need to have a power chair. And unfortunately, even as a backup, Medicaid will not pay for a manual chair as a backup if you need a power chair just to get around, which it's been identified that I do. So I'm never going to have a power chair. It's just, no, not going to happen. Um, that being said, the when they told me I was eligible for a new power chair, they said, you don't have to get one. This one's in good shape. It's running well. You know, we've had to replace some parts on it over the years, but your part replacement has just been because of wear and tear. It's not, and it's, you know, stuff's just wearing out. It's not, you're not abusing your chair a lot. It's just wearing out. We haven't had to replace that much on it in the past 5 years. Matter of fact, your chair almost looks close to brand new. Honestly, there's some dings and stuff here and there, but that's unavoidable as the years go on. But your chair is pretty close to brand new as far as maintenance and runnability and looks go compared to some of the other chairs we deal with. Now, does that mean I don't want a new wheelchair? Of course not. I do want one. But there's a lot of things to consider. One thing to consider is, do I want a middle wheel drive chair again, which if I can't get the one that I would love to have, meaning if I talk to the vendors, if I talk to therapists and everybody else that I have to go through to get all the qualifications to do all of that, then yes. I will go with a middle wheel drive chair again, because I've tried the front wheel drive ones and I've tried the rear wheel drive ones. I've just tested them. They've let me sit in those in the past and I've used them. Don't like them. The center of gravity just feels weird to me. The drivability of those things feel weird. Not to mention a middle wheel drive chair, which means your motors are right behind your tires in any one of the three that I just mentioned, but the middle means your center of gravity is right dead center, and they're also built well enough in all the brands that I've seen to where it's going to be the most flexible, meaning you can use it inside, but also middle wheel drive chairs perform better if you have to go outside than the other two. Reason being, in the other two, you have small little casters on either one of the two somewhere, and if your big tires with the treads on them get stuck, you've got no way to get in or out. Middle wheelchairs have 6 wheels, 4 of which don't really have tread, only your middle ones do, but they still work better outside as far as balance and being able to go places than the other two do, because they don't get stuck by little pebbles or little rocks, and you don't run the risk of flipping and any number of things. You also don't tip as easy. Now, that being said, I would love to get a bounder wheelchair. I've looked up those things. They're chain driven. They're meant as an outdoor wheelchair. You can use them inside. I've seen people who do that, who have them. They're great chairs. I've talked to our vendor here in Alaska. He said they're good chairs. They're hefty. They're beefy. They're heavier than all get out because of the way they're designed. But they're meant for going outside and having a good time. I have a dog. Okay, we love in the summertime to go on walks at least once a day. We haven't gone on a walk yet. I know summer is basically here, if not right around the corner, but the reason we haven't is because there's still some spots on our roads where the snow is still melting. And believe it or not, this chair will get stuck in slush. It's happened to me before where I've had to go through slush. I thought I'd be fine because it looked like it was broken up enough, but my tires, because the front and rear wheels don't have treads, get stuck. So I've learned over the years of living in Alaska, the best thing for me to do is wait till all the snow is gone, make sure the roads are clear. And honestly, I talked to somebody who uses a wheelchair other than me up here that I know, and they said the same thing. They have pets and they wait till all the slush and all the snow is gone to take them on walks, because when they do it, the the snow and the slush gets in their way. So they do the same thing I do. They wait till all of it's gone, and then they go. Leaves, rocks, all that stuff, that's kind of standard, and that stuff doesn't get in the way. It gets gummed up in the tires sometimes, but it doesn't get in the way. That being said, bounders, I've seen people go through snow on those things. In personal YouTube videos, I've seen them go through, muddy trails, mud patches. It doesn't get gummed up. And yeah, some people are like, well, you live in the city, that's not really a problem. It isn't, but you'd be surprised around these roads how many roads and sidewalks are not well maintained in the city, and how many roads are not well maintained. Having a chair that's built more ruggedly to be able to handle that. When I have a dog that I love to take on walks, and he loves to go with me. Every time I go to grab his leash, folks, he goes nuts. He knows what I'm going to do. He knows he's going with me, and he loves it. He just absolutely loves it. I love taking him because it's our time for us to be just owner and dog, or dad and dog, and he loves the walks with me. It's one of his favorite things to do. But anyway, I would love to get a bounder, and they finally have made one that is Medicaid billable. You have to be within a certain weight limit, which I fit. You can't be 230 pounds or heavier than that. You need to be within no heavier than 230 pounds, which actually it may be even lower than 230, but you can't be more than 230 for sure. Otherwise, the chair that's Medicaid billable, you won't be able to get, because it's the way that Century 21 has built that chair. Yes, I know that sounds like the realtor company. It's not. There is they're the name of the company that manufactures the Bounder wheelchairs. Now, there is a function on a power chair that I want to look at getting that this chair doesn't have. Matter of fact, none of the power chairs that I've had ever in all the years I've had them, and I've had a power chair since I was 5, has. And that is called a seat elevator. Basically makes your seat, you stay in a seated position, but you can raise or lower your chair. Problem is, Medicaid won't pay for it. Reason being, they see it as a luxury because you don't need that in order to move around. I disagree with that. I'm going to be honest with you. I really disagree with it, because you go into stores, you go into meetings, and you've got a high table, or you've got a lot of people, and the chairs they sit in put them still not at eye level with you. The seat elevator would allow me to look at stuff on a high shelf, or it would allow me to be at more at eye level if someone's standing, those sorts of things. It sounds crazy, but it's something I want. However, Medicaid won't pay for it because they see it as a luxury. And the downside is adding a seat elevator, at least with the Bounder and a couple other chairs I've looked at, you're looking at an extra $6,000. It's not a cheap option.